Scott, when you look at this matchup tonight, Dave Van Horn going up against one of, I don't know if I've necessarily call him a protege, but one of his former assistants, and Tony Vitalo, what kind of advantages and disadvantages do both teams have heading into this series with the coaches so familiar with one another?
Well, funny you'd ask that. I don't think there are any advantages for either side. I think this is as even of a matchup as I've seen in a long time. And who could have predicted at the beginning of the season that Arkansas and Tennessee would be playing the last series for the lead, the league lead. Vitello coaches a lot like Van Horn. He's got the same disciplines. He wants the same things from his pitchers, the same things from his hitters. If you play a good, clean game in the infield and the outfield, you're going to always have a chance to win. So I don't think there's an advantage anywhere. And the fact that their stadium maxes out about 4,500 people, that advantage is gone. So it should be a very, very great series. Great series.
Scott, they announced earlier this week, they being the Tennessee Athletic Department, that this series was going to be opened up to full capacity. That caused Arkansas fans to wonder, hey, why isn't the Razorback, why isn't Bob Walker Stadium doing that? Well, as of yesterday, Hunter Yurchek and the Arkansas Athletics Department announced full capacity next weekend for Florida. What did you make of the move?
It's about time. Governor Richardson called me and asked me about that, and I told him, I said, look, we need to open it up. Everybody else is for us, so I think we need to open up for Florida coming in. And, I think it's the best news I've heard in a long time, because that is our advantage. If we're playing somebody that's pretty much head up, that's our advantage.
Yeah, Scott, the real problem with that is that you told him that 6 weeks ago and he didn't do it.
The lines of communication are slow, but, he got it. He got it.
Yeah. So would you think that Tony knows Dave so well would be an advantage because he can convince his players they play just like us? I mean, this is, so that you would respect them a little more?
Yeah, I don't think the fact that we're number one in the nation has any effect on scaring their players. They're all the D1 college players. They all played against each other in travel ball coming up in different leagues and perfect game and all the big things, all the circuits. And they've seen each other enough. They've seen video and they've seen film. And, it all comes down to baseball. And neither team is a smoke and mirrors team. Both built on substance. Neither of them is trying to trick you into making a bad play or doing something fancy to try to pick out a run here, pick out a run there. I think runs are going to be at a premium. I could see both teams play a little small ball early, try to get a little bit early lead. Get that leadoff guy on, immediately bunt him over. Two guys on, immediately bunt him over, no matter who you have coming to the plate. So I could see a little small ball being played up front, try to get a little lead, and especially in the first game. You want to win that first one on the road, and it makes the rest of it gravy.
Yeah, the small ball thing is interesting because Tennessee actually hits more home runs than Arkansas in SEC play. They have really a lot of power, a lot more doubles. But so you may see the small ball, with some sacrifice stuff, but they're not gonna be running for stolen bases. They'll be playing for big innings, in my opinion.
Exactly.
The thing that's interesting is both of them work the count, really high walk totals on both sides, which that is a Van Horn thing that Tony took.
Sure.
And Tony was, his background was he was a pitching coach before he was a hitting coach, and he learned how to run offense from Dave. So it will mirror Dave's thoughts on how to take the approach at the plate, right?
Right. Well, a lot of pitching coaches make great hitting coaches because as a pitcher, you're trying to stay a pitch or two ahead of what the hitter's thinking. So he has his kids, and he always has. When he was with Van Horn, the same way. He was looking at things from the pitcher's side, and so he had that ingrained in him, and how a pitcher would work a count. And so that's always come to an advantage, I think, from his point of view, and he's done a great job of implementing it. And his hitters, you can see the discipline. There'll be a great pitch that they're looking for, a pitch that they know is going to be a chase pitch, and you'll see them not even flinch. There's not a half swing, not a quarter swing. They already know what it's going to go. It's going to be a slider away, and it's going to be a slider outside. So they don't chase pitches on chase pitch counts, and I think our pitchers are going to have to do a really, really good job of mixing up their their approach, not always pitching straight up traditional this, and go to this. Sometimes going backwards and start with your chase pitch and getting ahead of the count. So it'll be really, really a fun series. I think this is the most even series on paper that I've ever seen.
Oh, you're right.
We've got some great arms. We've got some great arms.
Yeah, it is exactly that. So when you played on the road, did it fire you up or were you intimidated? And I know the answer to this, but just explain what because some players it work different ways.
Right. You'll laugh at this, but I liked pitching on the road. I like pitching on the road because I like pitching in front of a quiet crowd. Now, it wasn't always quiet because I wasn't always ultra successful on the road, but if you go on the road and you're throwing a good game and they just can't get anything started, and my stuff was a little different than the stuff they have now. There's just a lot of little dinky ground balls on two pitches, and it looks like a bunch of little leaguers out there playing. And so the crowd can never get into it. And so it's just like, after 6-7 innings, everybody's going, come on, will somebody start doing something? And then I'm walking away, hearing everything they're saying in the crowd. The exception of Texas. Texas was loud from the second you got there until about the middle of the game, and nothing's going on, and then they just kind of shut up. And so it was always a treat for me to throw on the road, just to pitch in front of a quiet crowd. Sometimes you come back home and all the football players would be lining the fence and standing there right there on the field, and I'd find myself get a little too juiced up. And your stuff isn't as good when you're too juiced up. You have to back it off as a pitcher. So that was me personally. But a lot of the kids, the power pitchers, they get that extra adrenaline. They get a little more velocity, but they can also start missing a little bit with their pitches. So hopefully they've played enough. Not hopefully, I know they've played enough on the road to get the feel for it. And 4,500 people, it's like a practice session in Arkansas, so they won't be intimidated by that size.
Scott Tabor with us here on the Morning Rush. Scott, you spoke to the fact that you're happy that they're opening up for next weekend. Now, tickets are going to go on sale for Razorback Foundation and season ticket holders this morning at 9. That section is going to be sectioned off till 11 o'clock, and then they'll go on sale to the public. I thought Tommy made a good point earlier. Even with them going full capacity, you don't know if they're going to sell out next weekend. Do you anticipate Arkansas having a full crowd next weekend, being a Thursday, Friday, Saturday series against the Florida Gators?
I could see us having a record crowd next weekend. Our fans have just been clamoring to get in to see the Razorbacks. I haven't been able to get over and get tickets. I've had a couple of offers and had some things pop up, but it's the hottest ticket in town. Especially if they win this series. After they win this series, they go in against Florida next week, and Florida's a storied program. So, if the weather cooperates and it's going to be a beautiful 3 days, I think it'll be a record crowd for us.
Other question I have for you before we let you go. Blake Adams, he's entered the transfer portal. Kid out of Springdale Harbor, is actually Clay's son's insurance agent for a while. So the question I have, Scott, is with just the one-time transfer rule going into effect as of a week or so ago, I'm forgetting the exact date, how much more prevalent are we going to see this in college baseball relative to what you think it'll be compared to for college football and college basketball?
That's interesting, and it's a dynamic none of us have ever seen. It's because kids now have a choice. Before you get into a program and you get into Arkansas and you're just a stud coming out of high school, but all of a sudden you're looking around and there's studs all around you, and for one reason or another, you can't crack the lineup. Before, you're just buried. You're just buried. You have to hope that you can pick it up in a year or two. They let you stay on the team, and by the time you're a junior or senior, then all of a sudden you're getting some playing time. That's traditionally. Now, kids can come and go. They can come and go wherever they want. Rosters right now are so thick and so full, from the JUCO level all the way up. Everybody's they've got more arms and more hitters than they know what to do with. And so it's a really, really tough dynamic. So but this is nothing new as far as the talent part, because there's a lot of kids that come out of high school that velocities are a little bit inflated. They're great in high school, going against high school kids, but then they get to Arkansas and they see that everybody that you face, even in practice, is an All-American in high school, and so it's kind of an eye-opening experience. Some kids thrive and some kids don't. So the next couple of years, next couple of years, there'll be a lot of swapping and moving around going on. So we'll see how that works out.
Scott, always enjoy talking baseball on Friday. We'll see what happens this weekend in Knoxville, and we'll recap and preview Florida and get a little recap of Florida as well on next Friday, buddy.
Good deal.
Hey, Tabor is my insurance guy now, just for the record, okay?
I was going to mention you had a better insurance agent now, but I didn't want to.
I heard a chuckle, and I just assumed.
I didn't say better, just a different one.
Oh, come on.
Well, I like Aaron. I'm not going to say anything bad about Aaron. Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Scott.
Equal. Semi-close.
Yeah.
See ya.
See you, buddy. Good stuff from our buddy Scott Tabor, as always.